On the break, why do you need legal advice as an entrepreneur? Well, that is the question our next guest is here to share his perspective on. And joining us now is the former deputy head boy at St. George's College, attorney at law, Saeed Bernard, AMDG.
Morning, Neville.
Well, go on.
About man, you?
AMDG means Ad Majorem Dei Gloria.
To the greater glory of God.
Which is our motto at St. George's College. Why I need a lawyer if I start business? I mean, I just have my money, I mean, just go to the what you call the office and say,
company's office.
Company's office. I said, I'm never bell and I want to start a dry cleaning
and they
service,
give you the form and you sign it up
and I go about my business.
Yeah,
why I need you?
You can absolutely do that part on your own, you know. You don't need an attorney for that part. But when it comes to your contracts, when it comes to, let's say, the service get big, because your charge is money, God bless you.
Yeah.
And you say, I got to expand the service in Barbados, you know. How do you deal with that? Or is it that you're going to have a subsidiary company in Barbados, or it's going to be a standalone company in Barbados?
Yeah.
So when it comes to expansion, you want to look into that. In fact, Neville, when it comes to contracts, you see, a lot of the times, as the layman, we say, oh man, we know where we are, man. This is the contract,
But
this is how we are going.
don't.
A lot of the times, we don't have it in writing.
Yeah.
Or even if we do have it in writing, there are certain technicalities that
we don't
your I would
understand.
not pick up, that I would pick up,
Yeah.
right? So those are some things that you really want to have an attorney looking out for you, especially when it comes to contract for services or contracts for goods. There are certain things in there that you really and truly want to get a second eye on because, you know, you want to pick up those technicalities.
We have some headlines. I will give you the headlines and you can explain why I would need somebody. Some of them you probably mentioned already. It says dealing with legal issues. Like what? What is a legal issue?
So for example, Neville, you're going to employ people. It's not, you're going to do everything in the business, right? So you're talking about employment law there. You want to ensure that you're not breaking the laws of the country because they'll bring it to the Industrial Disputes Tribunal and they will win. And then that will cost you even more. So you want to ensure, for example, the employment contracts are within the frame of the law so that you're not breaching any law. Best practices, indeed.
Registration of your business, we talked about that.
Right,
already. So I probably wouldn't need a lawyer just to register.
Well, you don't need a lawyer just to register, but if it's a very big company, there might be some technicalities. You might want to speak about your articles of incorporation, which you in fact need to register your company. The good thing is the Companies Office form does give you some options. They have standard forms. But if you have a company and you want to frame it in your own way as it relates to how it operates and so forth, you need an attorney to draft those articles of incorporation. You also
spoke about this one at the top, expanding the business.
Right.
You said more of a Barbados.
Right.
Or even in Jamaica if I want to expand the business.
Exactly. Expanding the business, you're talking about how the bigger you become, Neville, is the more risk you take on. What better way to manage that risk than to have an attorney? Yeah.
Handling legal documents.
Right. So with
like
that now,
what is a legal document?
So legal documents deals with your company documents, deals with, for example, you need to have board meetings. That is a requirement under the Companies Act.
So why I need a lawyer for my board meeting?
Because you need to, for example, draft resolutions to deal with particular things. You need to call regular board meetings. There's a way to go about that. Yeah. So that is a very simple answer.
Yeah. Protecting your business. Protecting it from what, please?
People sue businesses regular, you know, day in, day out.
So what?
You walk out the road and slip and fall and they say it's your fault. So how do you protect yourself against that? One, you want a lawyer to tell you these are the best practices that you need to have. But two, when you are in fact sued, you can't just take the paper and say, oh, soon deal with that. You have 14 days to file an acknowledgement of service. You have another 40 days to file a defense. You need an attorney to do that. And, Neville, what you need to know as well is that a lot of the times, because people sit down on their lawyers and don't pay it any mind, they really and truly lose the case when they had a good case to begin with in the first place. And a lawyer would have been able to manage that from the very inception.
I understand that. And you spoke to this one, to contract management.
Right.
So may I give Clive a contract?
Yeah, man.
What I need to know about
you can't have Clyde, for example, working over the 40 hours and you're not giving him overtime. And then you say, oh, him contract say he must work for 50 hours and he's not getting his overtime. The law stipulates the working hours. It stipulates what must happen. For example, if it's fast food business, they should be getting paid a particular rate when they're working under a holiday period. You need to ensure that those strictures within the law, you are following them.
Serious question. Back to hiring Clive. If there are no specifics in the contract, so I hire Clive, and then when him come here, him don't sign the contract, and I say him have to work for 12 hours. Him not no leg
If I work for 12 hours when? Per week?
Day.
Per day?
Yeah, him not no leg for stand, pan.
Well,
If the contract never stipulates.
the 12 hours per day is not the issue in the level.
What
It's
is
the
it?
accumulative hours that it will amount to at the end of the week. Because
No,
it's a
but
40-hour work
No,
week.
but he signed the contract. There is no
Oh,
stipulation.
so there's a principle in law.
In other words, I don't
So-
ask him to work from 8 to 5. I say, come work with me. He said, fine. I said, see the contract, sign it. There's nothing on it said
Yeah.
you have to reach. And then after him signed, I said, by the way, you work till 8, you know.
Yeah.
What
every day
about that?
Well, the thing is, no matter what contract you sign, no contract is valid if it is that it's in contravention with the law. So it is void to the extent that it is inconsistent
Even if
with
he
the law.
signed it?
Even if he signed it.
I never know that.
So you cannot have somebody sign an illegal document, essentially. And that contract would have been contravening.
No. Well, I know, illegal, I accept. All I say, is I start a business. I sell shoes. Clive come
The
in,
substance of his employment with you is a contravention of the law. Yeah.
But all the contracts say, is Clive Williams is going to work with Neville.
Yes.
Him is the general manager.
But then Clive is going to go to the Industrial Disputes Tribunal, for example, and say, I was working from X time to X time for 6 days a week. My hours amounted to X amount of hours, and I was not getting overtime. I was working on holiday, but I was getting the same
But
rate.
I never tell him he was going to get that. I should give him the contract and him sign it.
Which is why you need
In other words, he would also need a lawyer too. And I'm being very serious when he makes the contract.
Because not break the contract. The
No, I said when he gets the contract,
right, absolutely.
he would come to you and say, this man want me to sign this.
And then that's the other part of the scripting, Neville. A lot of the times, as a layman, because you want the job so bad,
You just jump.
You don't
And
say,
right.
let me get an attorney to look at this or what have you. And sometimes you don't even have the money to say, let me pay an attorney to review this document.
Like that discussion. The final one, protect your intellectual property. What is your intellectual property in the
so
first
for
place?
example, I have clients who are in the software business, Neville, and they will create products. And you pay them $1 million to create the product, and they negotiate the fee based on whether or not they will have the rights for that product or you will have the rights for that product. If it is that you will have the rights for that product, they'll want to up the fee because they cannot then go and use that product on their own volition, even though they have created it. Or you can say, I'm not care when I want to do it, Me just want it for my business so I can pay less. Right? In that way now, we can draft the contract in such a way that their intellectual property rights are protected. So even though you paid for the software, you can't just go any and anywhere and use it. You have to use it based on the contract that you've outlined. Things like that, you have to protect the intellectual property level. Otherwise, your work will be exploited. And again, it's business.
I learned something. Very well explained.
Yeah, man.
I'm impressed. Thanks for coming.
No problem.
Would it be good to say that every adult really and truly does need a lawyer? Period. Because you don't know what might jump.
Not in every situation, but it's good to have an attorney that you can call.
Yeah, man.
Because when it comes to your family situation, when it comes to even driving on the road, everything, look at it this way, Neville. Every single thing you do is governed by law. What better way to have an attorney on your side who is all fair with the law and knows exactly how to advise you?
I love it. AMDG.
Respect.
Attorney at Law, Saeed Bernard. Up next, the Reggae Gold Awards review.